Good morning. Welcome to Friday morning, the 12th of November. We are going to stick with the section entitled When You Give, coming from Matthew 6, verses 1 through 4. We read those yesterday when we listened to what John Chrysostom had to say, one of the early church fathers, as they are called, back in the 400s AD, and known for quite direct preaching and calling out Christians who were allowing themselves to be molded into the ways of their culture instead of being different from it. I don't know how his church growth went, preaching like that. Today we're going to listen to what Mother Teresa has to say about giving. You all know who Mother Teresa is, and I find that often we admire people like that. We just don't want to be them. And I don't know if that is hypocritical to admire somebody but not really want to be like them. I don't know. I'm not sure. You discuss that in your own mind. Here's what Mother Teresa has to say. Some time ago, I made a trip to Ethiopia. Our sisters were working there during that terrible drought. Just as I was about to leave for Ethiopia, I found myself surrounded by many children. Each one of them gave something. Take this to the children. Take this to the children, they would say. They had many gifts that they wanted to give to our poor. Then a small child who, for the first time, had a piece of chocolate, came up and said, I do not want to eat it. You take it and give it to the children. This little one gave a great deal because he gave it all. And he gave something that was very precious to him. Those two things are important. He gave his all and he gave something precious to him. Have you ever experienced the joy of giving? I do not want you to give to me from your abundance. I never allow people to have fundraisers for me. I don't want that. I want you to give of yourself. The love you put into the giving is the most important thing. I don't want people donating just to get rid of something. There are people in Calcutta who have so much money that they want to get rid of it. They sometimes have money to spare, money they try to hide. A few days ago, I received a package wrapped in plain paper. I thought that it might contain stamps, cards, or something like that, so I put it aside. I planned to open it later when I had the time. A few hours later, I opened it without even suspecting its contents. It was hard for me to believe my eyes. That package contained 20,000 rupees. It didn't have a return address or any note, which made me think that it might be money owed to the government. I don't like people to send me something because they want to get rid of it. Giving is something different. It is sharing. I also don't want you to give me what you have left over. I want you to give from your want until you really feel it. The other day I received $15 from a man who has been paralyzed for 20 years. The paralysis only allows him to use the use of his right hand. The only company he tolerates is tobacco. He told me, I have stopped smoking for a week. I'm sending you the money I've saved from not buying cigarettes. It must have been a horrible sacrifice for him. I bought bread with his money, and I gave it to those who were hungry. So both the giver and those who received experienced joy. This is something all of us need to learn. The chance to share our love with others is a gift from God. May it be for us just as it was for Jesus. Wow. Excellent points. Especially if we think of what Jesus said. Remember, he sat one day in the temple watching people give their offerings, and the Pharisees would give their large amount, drop it down wherever it was they put the money in, and it made a lot of noise. And then this widow came, and she gave her last 2 coins that she had. I don't know what that was equal to, not much. And Jesus looks at her and said, her giving is basically of more value than everyone else's because she gave all she could give. Lived on a church campground years ago out in Indiana. The church owned property that was a campground. I lived on the grounds as caretaker. And we had a need, the camp had a need for a new mower because the other one had broken down. And so the call was put out at the church that owned the property in need of mowers, and people brought their mowers out, all broken down, all needing fixed. If you'll excuse my French, all pieces of crap. I learned a lesson that day as if I hadn't learned it growing up as a preacher's kid. Most people are willing to buy the best for themselves, but they give the junk to the Lord. That was Mother Teresa's point here. I don't want you giving out of your abundance. Yeah, it's easy. That's easy. And please don't send me just stuff you want to get rid of. Give from your heart. Give sacrificially. That's what we as believers are called to be and do. That's what Jesus is trying to teach us in the Sermon on the Mount. Give generously, give sacrificially. The amount isn't the issue. The heart is always the issue. Blessings to you today.